My name is Alfred Hitchcock. This is episode 190 of the most terrifying podcast you'll ever listen to. That's my terrible, terrible Alfred Hitchcock impression. Welcome back to episode 190, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Well, you can't answer me, but V, you can. How are you today?
You should stick to singing.
Yeah, maybe not either. Anyway. Anthony Hopkins was a better Alfred Hitchcock than me.
True. But at least you've let our audience know what our theme is today.
Yes, this is a Hitchcockian episode. Are these the first Hitchcock movies we've done?
Definitely.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think we've done another one. I almost did Psycho, I think last year around Halloween, but did not end up doing it. And just over 3 years here, it took us to finally get to some Master of Suspense films. I'm looking forward to this episode because I had not seen V's pick, and I cannot honestly remember if V had seen mine. But before we get into that, V, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, and I'm really happy we're doing older movies again. I always love it when we roll back the clock for a couple of decades to pick some movies from before 1980. And I love both of these movies. I have seen The Bird several times, especially because it was filmed up near where I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I think this was a great idea of yours, John. I'm really excited to get into it.
Me too. And we don't spoil things here, but you just spoiled my movie, and that's okay because I did that with yours last week. So looks like you got me back. Maybe even unintentionally.
Absolutely unintentionally.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't intentional. And before we jump into these movies, welcome to Movies You Miss Podcast. If you are brand new to our show, we here at Movies You Miss Podcast discuss movies that both V and I feel need to be revisited. And if you're brand new here to Movies You Miss Podcast, welcome. V and I like to pick underrated movies that have not been talked about in a while, movies that may have been forgotten, and discuss them, break them down, give you some BTS and our experiences with these films. And I'm excited to get into the experiences of both of these films because I've been watching mine since I was about 7 years old. So it's going to be a fun episode, absolutely. And like I did just mention, we don't do any spoilers here of the movies that we choose.
I really do love that about our show.
As do I. And another thing I love about our show is discussing the new movies that we've seen in theaters or on streaming over the last week. And V, I think you finally saw more than I did over this last week.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's been like 10 months.
I know. So let's get into them. What'd you see?
I only watched 2 movies this week, but again, more than you. So I'm proud of that fact.
Yep, more than me.
And one of them was a documentary.
Hey, all right. I'm still ahead of you.
I know. Just rub it in my face, whatever. So I'm going to start with that one just because I can't wait to talk to you about it. You've seen it already. Oh. And you helped encourage me watch it because I had a little bit of trepidation. I wasn't sure I could get through it and how upset I would be with it. And thankfully, you did give me a tiny spoiler that I needed in order to watch the film. And so I did, and I watched it with my mother. This is called The Perfect Neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Netflix. It is almost all body cam footage, as you have said.
Yes.
And it is exploring Florida's stand your ground law with a very specific case that happened just within the last couple years. This movie is important. This movie is infuriating. My mother and I both were cursing at the TV throughout half of this documentary, but it's so well done. I'm not usually a fan of body cam footage. I was never a fan of cops. And so I was a little bit nervous, and especially with my mother because she has a lot of motion sickness issues when she watches movies. Like she could never ever watch Hardcore Henry, for example.
Oh, gotcha.
But we actually handled it really well. I think it was the perfect way to tell the story given the history of it. Mm-hmm. And so really well done documentary. I think a lot of people should watch it again. It's called The Perfect Neighbor. It's on Netflix. It's heartbreaking, but also I'm so glad I watched it.
Yeah, definitely. It was a heavy one to get through, but it certainly is worth watching. Completely agree. The body cam footage, the way it's edited, very well done, very well put together flick.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point. Shout out to the editing is important, so thank you for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next movie I watched, funny enough, is also on Netflix, also a movie you've already seen. It's Frankenstein.
Hey, all right.
I was very excited for this film. Big fan of Guillermo del Toro. I just picked one of his movies just in the last couple months.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really looking forward to it, but oh God, I don't know how to feel about this film.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand why you feel that way.
My mother and I turned to each other and, well, actually, we watched half of it. And it got too late, and so we had to stop, and then we watched the second half of it last night. Halfway through it, when we paused it the first night on Monday, both of us looked at each other and we go, is this good? Are we watching the rest of this film? We weren't. We were so blah about the whole thing. And I just didn't care about the story that Victor Frankenstein was telling me, but Jacob Elordi saved this film. I truly believe that. He was exceptional as the monster.
Yeah, he was really damn good.
To a point where, depending on who is nominated for Best Actor for Oscars, I might argue that he could be in that conversation.
Damn.
He was absolutely incredible. I believed him the entire time. It's so hard for actors to emote when they have a limited vocabulary or they're supposed to be awkward, and it just sometimes feels so forced, right? Not one moment of his performance felt forced to me. It looked so natural. The makeup should also be in contention for an Oscar nomination because, holy shit, so believable. The costumes were gorgeous. The cinematography I loved so much, especially on the ice.
Oh, yes.
So incredible. So there were so many aspects of this movie that I really loved, but I think it meandered way too much, and I just feel like there were a lot of interactions, especially towards the end of the film, that came a little bit out of nowhere. And so these character arcs were slow through 3/4 of this movie, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's the arc, and they changed so much, or they did something incredible, or changed themselves, and I'm like, whoa, where the hell did this come from? You had the whole movie to develop this, and you didn't at all. And so for me, I thought the last 20 minutes of the film was really, really good. But this is a 2-hour plus movie, and it needed to have that feeling throughout most of it, and it didn't.
I gotcha.
So it's on my movies you could miss. I don't think it's terrible. I certainly think that if people are interested, they should watch it.
Sure.
Even for Jacob's performance alone, I might recommend it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was, given how much Guillermo loves this story, I was a bit disappointed in the execution.
I gotcha. I remember when I was talking about it, I felt that Christoph Waltz's character was a bit pointless. I don't know how you feel about that, but I talked to Amy after she had watched it, and she liked Christoph Waltz's character, and it's not that I didn't like his character, I just didn't see the point for him, because he's one of the main characters that's driving Frankenstein after he finds out that he can reanimate dead tissue to do it instead of Victor Frankenstein, like the OG, being like, shit, I can actually do this whole thing.
Right.
So I just thought it was weird, and I had a convo with I think it was my friend Elizabeth. She and I talk about movies all the time. She's a locations manager in TV, and I was just talking about the fact that there was just this very odd sexual tension between Christoph Waltz and Oscar Isaac's character, and apparently Amy didn't see it that way. But the second time I watched it, I was kind of like, are they gonna make out? Like, what's going on? Like, it really, like, when they're on the couch and just Victor Frankenstein is listening to him, and he just like keeps dropping his eyes, like, to this point where he's like getting seduced by him. Maybe that was the whole point, and maybe was literally Del Toro's thing. But I was kind of like, I don't really need this character. I think his drive to want to reanimate a full body would be just enough. But that was really my main critique of the movie. I thought the soundtrack was amazing, and I did really like Jacob's performance as well, and even Mia Goth. I've come around to Mia Goth over the last couple times I've seen her in a movie, and there's a couple of funny scenes with her in it, and I didn't feel like they were like the cheesy Guillermo del Toro scenes, like from Hellboy or Pacific Rim, if that makes sense.
Well, I just think that in period pieces, she always plays the same frail character, like an Emma.
Oh, okay.
About Christoph Waltz, I think that he just comes across as kind of a lech. He's a little bit just always hitting on everybody, kind of. He's a very sexual person in general. The character, not Christoph Waltz. I don't know him, but... And given his challenges, this character's challenges, it kind of makes sense that he's coming off that way, right?
Definitely.
But for me, the character who I actually thought was completely pointless was the captain. And he was just a vehicle for Victor to tell his story. And from the very, very beginning, when Victor sits down and goes, I'm going to tell you my life story. I was born in Vienna. And I'm like... Yeah. Why would this captain give a single shit about your life?
Right, yeah.
All he did was drag you onto his boat. Like, calm down. And so for me, for the first 40 minutes of the movie, I was like, why would he care about your story?
Yeah, totally.
I think the much better way to use an inciting incident for Victor to start telling his story is if he was writing in a journal to leave to someone before he goes out on the ice.
That would have been really cool.
And being like, if I die, if I don't come back, this is my story. And he's writing it down. that actually seems meaningful and for an actual purpose versus it felt so forced with this captain. I'm like, why does he care?
Yeah. No, it's true. That's a solid point.
So yes, no hate to Guillermo. We still love him, but just a little, and by little I mean a lot, disappointed in this movie.
Oh, well, that's okay. No big deal.
But I'm so glad I can finally talk to you about it. I know it's been a bit.
Definitely.
Again, Jacob was amazing.
Yes, he was. It's pretty wild that you finally beat me in the amount of movies watched. Even though it was just 2, you still beat me by 2. But I guarantee you this will be the last time of 2025 that you see more movies than I do over a week period.
Challenge accepted.
Hey! Now I think it's time to get into the Hitchcockian theme for episode 190. V, I believe you go first, which kind of works because we go in chronological order of years released of these movies.
Which, thank God, since we're focusing on a single director this week.
Yes, very, very cool. I think I'm ready to possibly be mistaken for somebody else.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Yes, let's do it. I picked the 1959 Alfred Hitchcock directed, Cary Grant and Eva Marie Saint starring North by Northwest.
Yeah.
And this is the first time John had ever seen this movie, so I'm very excited to hear his reaction real time. I really hope he liked it. Honestly, I don't think that he has a defensible position if he didn't, because this movie is a classic and it is rated highly everywhere. So
yeah.
So let's get into why North by Northwest is amazing and why you should watch it. North by Northwest takes place in present time, 1959 at least, starting in New York. And we open up, funny enough, with an Alfred Hitchcock cameo.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of credits rolling along as we're panning through the city streets of New York, and Alfred Hitchcock misses a bus.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, oh, we got that out of the way. Okay. And we are introduced to Roger Thornhill, played by a silver fox, Cary Grant. Love that man. And this is my 3rd Cary Grant movie that we've done on this podcast so far, but it is the 5th movie in total because you started us off with Arsenic and Old Lace back in the day.
Yeah.
Then I picked Bringing Up Baby and His Girl Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And now we are doing North by Northwest. And Cary Grant plays Roger Thornhill, an ad executive who seems like he's a wheeler and dealer. He has an assistant, he's running around, he's having lunches with big heavy hitters, and he just seems like he's very important. Or at least he thinks he is.
Yeah, there's definitely that sort of presence about him.
Pompousness, as it were.
Sure.
And in the middle of one of these lunches at a very nice restaurant in New York, he has to get up and telegraph his assistant with a message about his mother. And while he's walking through the restaurant, 2 men stop him, actually, and pull out a gun. And he is very flabbergasted by this situation and thinks that there's got to be some kind of joke. But unfortunately, he's really being kidnapped, and that's what happens. Roger Thornhill is then driven to a very nice mansion outside of New York, where he meets a man named Van Damme. And this is where Van Damme and his henchmen, who have kidnapped Thornhill, start calling him George Kaplan. Roger Thornhill, played by Cary Grant, keeps insisting, I'm not George Kaplan. I don't know what you're talking about. And this is where Van Damme, played by James Mason. Now, James Mason, he has always been such a good-looking villain, or just a very interesting man as well. He was in The Verdict, he was in The Boys from Brazil, Heaven Can Wait, but I actually remember him back from when I was a little kid. He was Captain Nemo in the original 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
I definitely recognized him from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and now that you mention Heaven Can Wait, I know who he plays in Heaven Can Wait as well.
So he plays Van Damme in this movie, and he keeps insisting that Cary Grant is a man named George Kaplan and starts listing off all these hotels he's been staying at and that he's even staying in one in New York now. And the Roger Thornhill is insistent, saying, no, I'm an ad executive. Just call my friends. Call my mother. I'm not this George Kaplan that you keep insisting on. And this is where things start to get a little dicey because Van Damme and his thugs keep telling him, oh, this is tedious. Stop lying. Just admit it. I've caught you. Let's just be gentlemen about this. And the this that he's talking about is killing Roger Thornhill, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And Cary Grant recognizes this. It takes him a little while because he really doesn't understand what the hell's going on. He's a normal citizen. He's an ad executive. This is so ludicrous, right? It's like, who does this happen to? But they have guns and they seem pretty insistent and they also seem rather threatening. And so unfortunately, he gets wrapped up in this situation where Van Damme leaves and does a very ominous nod to his henchmen, which in any movie, you know that's a bad sign. And
Oh, yeah.
what they do is pin Cary Grant down and pour a bunch of booze down his throat.
Yeah, I couldn't read the label of the bourbon bottle, but my gosh, they just kept pouring it. And who was pouring that bourbon, by the way?
Martin Landau.
Yeah.
He plays Van Damme's number 2 man in this movie, Leonard. Martin Landau, as a senior, I recognize him from Sleepy Hollow, my previous pick from a couple of weeks ago. He plays the elder Van Garrett, who was killed the first 90 seconds of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he is also a character in your future pick of Cleopatra.
Yes, he is.
Do you remember the character's name?
No.
He plays Rufio!
Oh, wow. That's hilarious.
The guy's name is Rufio in Cleopatra.
I'll always remember him from the absolutely terrible movie that is on my list in the future called Ready to Rumble with Oliver Platt and David Arquette.
When I was doing my research for this film, I saw that he's in that movie and went, oh, dear God.
He plays a character named Sal Bandini, and he's like, Sal Bandini, wanna wrestle?
Oh, God.
Pretty awful movie, but it's pretty hilarious at the same time.
But he has very striking eyes in this film that you don't really notice as much when he's older.
No.
And he's almost to the point of distracting whenever he's in the scene because he has such a striking look to him.
Yeah, he does.
So now once Leonard and the other henchmen have poured a bunch of booze, and like you said, bourbon, down Cary Grant's throat, they toss him in a little convertible, and this car is parked in the middle of the highway on a coastal road.
Yeah.
And they're gonna turn it on and basically take it off the e-brake and let him drive right off a cliff and into the ocean, and it'll be an quote-unquote accidental drunken driving mistake, right? Killing this guy off, who they insist is George Kaplan. Luckily for Cary Grant and the audience, because this movie would be 10 minutes long if this didn't happen, he sobers himself enough up, shakes himself off a little bit, enough at least to grab the steering wheel and narrowly avoid careening off the cliff, and now he's driving down this very windy, very narrow 2-lane ocean road with these thugs behind him in the other car, because they watched him not crash, and he's weaving all over the place, almost hitting cars and bicycles and babies and all sorts of things in the middle of the night. Finally, he gets the attention of a police officer, slams on his brakes, police officer rear ends him, and the thugs now see this accident, see that he is being detained by the police, and unfortunately have to drive off without completing their task of killing this man. And so he is now arrested and taken to the police station, and it's very clearly that he's very drunk, and he's insisting that someone was trying to kill him, but as drunken stories go, they're not very believable, so he sleeps it off. He is insistent upon being kidnapped, that these men tried to kill him, that they forced him to drink, and I will take you to this mansion, and I will show you what happened and where all this went down. Well, he takes the police and his mother to this mansion, where the maid recognizes him and says, "Oh, it's so nice to see you again." And then the quote-unquote wife of Van Damme is there, and she said, "You didn't try to drive home, did you?" And he's like, "What? Yeah. I've never seen this woman before in my life. And let me bring you to the library. I'll show you where this all happened." And he opens up the liquor cabinet, and it's just all books. The wife and other people in the household are saying that, oh, he was having a great time at this party, but it got kind of boring, so he insisted on driving himself home. And this is the point where he's looking around, he's frantic, he's trying to convince people that this really happened, and I just thought I would feel like I was going crazy.
Hell yeah.
And Hitchcock actually does such a great job through the first 30 or so minutes of this movie, really keeping us disoriented on our toes on what exactly is happening, and we only know as much as Cary Grant does in this moment, so we don't know what the hell's going on either, and feel like he does. And I love how he told this story, because if we knew any more, it wouldn't be as enthralling, it wouldn't be as, there wouldn't be as much tension, right? And so his mother turns to him and says, "Oh, Roger, just pay the $2 fine and let's go home," which is hilarious. $2. That was the fine for a DUI arrest back in the day. So that happens, but he just cannot let this go. So he decides to bring his mother to George Kaplan's hotel room to show her that George Kaplan is this guy that exists. Well, unfortunately, he's not in his room, but they sneak in. And he starts looking around and notices that the suits that are in the closet are much too short for him, so obviously he's not George Kaplan. But unfortunately the phone rings, and he kind of pretends to be George because he's trying to find out more information. And he had also stolen a photo of Van Damme back when he was in the mansion, and it looks like he's at the UN. And so to continue trying to collect evidence and figure out what the hell is going on, Roger Thornhill decides to go to the UN and look for Van Damme. He asks for him at the front desk, and a man named Van Damme comes out. But it's not the man he saw last night. He doesn't look anything like him. And there's some confusion there, and unfortunately Van Damme gets killed.
Yeah, I did not anticipate that.
Yeah, rather spectacularly, actually. Well, Roger Thornhill's standing right next to him, so what happens? He gets accused of murder, because of course he does.
Yeah.
So now there's a manhunt, and there is even a picture taken, and now his picture is all over a front page of newspapers all across North America. So things have gone from bad to worse. So now Roger Thornhill is a fugitive. And the good news is that when he was at this mansion with Van Damme, and Van Damme was spouting off all the different hotels that George Kaplan had been staying at, including his future hotel stays, which are in Chicago and South Dakota. So now Roger Thornhill knows where he needs to go in order to chase down this George Kaplan guy. And so he goes to Grand Central Station in New York and hops a train. And this is great because he's wearing these glasses trying to be all incognito because everybody's going to recognize him. He looks so good. Oh my God. So good. And we'll talk about that suit in a little bit. Anyway, and this is probably John's favorite part of the movie because this is where we meet Eve Kendall.
Yeah.
Played by Eva Marie Saint. She was also in On the Waterfront.
Oh.
And she played Martha Kent in Superman Returns, which is...
Superman Returns, is that the one with Brandon Routh or whatever?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah. That movie sucked.
It was not great, but I don't hate it.
No. I remember I saw it in theaters when I was going to school in Manhattan. Our instructor in editing class was like, we're going to go see Superman Returns. And everybody walked out just being like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. Bryan Singer didn't direct that one, did he?
He did.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, there you go.
And Eva Marie Saint, being that this is a Hitchcock movie, is a blonde.
Yeah.
And not only does she help Roger Thornhill evade some cops that have been chasing him, but also she's a bit flirtatious and meets him down in the dining car a little bit later, and they have a wonderful banter over dinner. To a point
very good scene.
I love the dialogue in that scene, and just the chemistry is fantastic. To a point where she unceremoniously invites him back to her train car for the evening.
Yeah, she does. I thought it was funny. He's like, how's the food? She goes, oh, the trout's good. It's trouty, but it's good.
Yeah.
Trouty.
And there is a 20-year age difference between the two of them. I just wanted to shout that out.
Oh, okay. Oh, good for Cary Grant.
Yeah.
It is a movie after all, but yes, very cool.
Yes, she was 35, he was 55.
Oh, wow.
Even though she says she's 26 in the film.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they get to Chicago and seem to part ways, but unfortunately he runs into a bit more trouble because, again, he's a wanted man nationally because he has killed a member of the UN, at least that's what everybody thinks. And so he ends up actually going back to her hotel room because thank God she shared that information, and she continues to hide him. And so from there, as Roger Thornhill continues to look for George Kaplan, thankfully Eve is along with him to try to help him out as he's evading not only all of the police and the FBI, but also Van Damme and all his thugs, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, how this mistaken identity has gone this far, how the hell he's going to get out of a murder charge too. And this movie spans from New York to Chicago to South Dakota, hence the name North by Northwest.
Yeah.
There's a very classic crop dusting scene.
Yes.
Where Roger Thornhill is being chased by an airplane, which is really cool and really well done. There's also a moment where he's taking a shower, and did you notice what he was whistling?
Oh, yeah. Singing in the Rain.
That's right, a movie you introduced me to a couple years ago, which I love. And I just was talking to my sister Suzanne about this because I was lucky enough to watch this movie with Sue over the last week and talk to her about how awesome Singing in the Rain is.
Yes, it is.
And all during this time, he's just trying to clear his name and prove that he is not George Kaplan. And I absolutely love this film. I've watched it multiple times since my 20s, and I'm so glad to introduce you to it this week. And I think Cary Grant played this role perfectly. He's so befuddled about this whole situation. He's certainly a fish out of water going on this adventure because, as he says, I'm an advertising man. I've got a job, a secretary, a mother, 2 ex-wives, and several bartenders who are depending on me.
I loved that bartender line. That was so good.
And he just does such a great job, and so does Eva Marie Saint and James Mason. They're all really... I love that this seems like a small cast, but there's so much background, and this is such an expansive adventure as well, because it goes across multiple states and cities and even ends up at Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So
you and your road trip movies.
I know, it kind of is. I know, I was thinking about it as I was finishing up that summary going, is this a road trip film?
Yep.
And I'm so excited to hear what your reaction was, considering you've only seen it once. I have a little bit of trivia, so I'm looking forward to getting into that too. But first, of course, I want to hear what you thought.
This was my first time watching North by Northwest. All I've ever heard is how great it is. So I was very excited to watch it. I have never seen anything for this movie except for the very brief moment when he ducks under the crop dusting plane and basically does not get decapitated by it. I did not anticipate that scene going as long as it did and ending as badass as it did. It was pretty intense stuff. I did not anticipate a lot of this movie. The interesting thing about Hitchcock and a lot of movies back then, especially in the suspense realm and the horror realm, is a lot of times the pacing can kind of feel a little off, especially with some of the close-ups. I only felt that one time while watching North by Northwest. It's actually when he goes to sit down at lunch with those guys early on in the movie and he wants to make the telegram, and the camera pans away from the two guys and does a real tight push-in of the two guys that are standing in the hallway. It's the way that they're introduced I did not like. Other than that, I didn't have any real problems with the movie, except I will say that I felt very, very off-put by the way that the movie ended. The finale of the movie, like the last 4 minutes, when it ended, I was like, okay, I guess that's how that one ended.
Yeah, classic Hitchcock.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if it's classic Hitchcock in my personal opinion. It was a weird ending, and I understand the visualization of the ending, but it just was, either way,
it just kind of ends.
Yeah, it just kind of ends, which again, no big deal. A lot of movies do just kind of end, and sometimes they're better for it, and not that it ruined the movie for me by any means. I really enjoyed Cary Grant's performance, and Eva Marie Saint was great. I thought that the back and forth with them, not only in the dinner car, but pretty much everywhere else, was really spot on. It felt very authentic. The only scene I did not necessarily like with both of them is when they kind of start to hook up in the train car. It was just a little strange. But other than that, I liked the movie as a whole. I thought the whole thing, when he first gets taken to the house and they offer him a drink, he's like, no, I don't need a drink right now. And then that whole car chase sequence, I loved the interrogation at the police station after, while he's still drunk and trying to recollect what happened. I thought that was great. And like you said, the next day he brings his mom, of all people. I know why not. He was talking about his mother early on in the movie, and it kind of made me, when I was watching The Birds, I was like, man, did Hitchcock have a thing for moms, or is it just back then where, I don't know, because not every, well, no, I guess he must have, because Psycho is very,
no
spoilers here. But other Hitchcock movies certainly have a lot of motherly tones to them, including my pick this week. Not to say that Cary Grant's mom in North by Northwest was anything like Mitch's mother in The Birds, but we'll get into that later. I definitely enjoyed the movie. I thought the soundtrack was great. The cinematography is really good. Cary Grant was great. The story, like you said earlier, makes you really start to think and really kind of get lost in what exactly is going on, and I really liked that about it, because I certainly was like, what the fuck? Like, a lot during this movie.
Yeah.
And I know that's what they were going for, so they certainly sold it very well. And it's definitely a movie I would watch again. I actually think I bought it on Apple because it was like $7.99.
Awesome.
So I own it now. The 4K transfer is beautiful. And Eva Marie Saint, stunningly beautiful woman. And I texted you, I was like, if they were ever to remake this movie, ever, January Jones would have to play this character.
Yes, I totally agree.
Even though January Jones is not that great of an actress, she just looks almost
agree.
Exactly like this woman does. And her, some of the dresses, she was that black and red rose dress. Oh, man, I loved it. And I really liked that auction sequence. The auction sequence was great. He keeps calling out the numbers, and people are like,
so good.
Well, we're already at 1,200. He goes, 3,000. Like, well, we've already landed at 1,200. It's like, I thought that was really good.
$800. Are we sure that's not a fake?
Yeah. And the bartender line early on had me cracking up as well. So it was a lot funnier than I thought it would be for a Hitchcock movie. And I know Hitchcock has, I think the 39 Steps is one of his other semi-comedies, but we all know Hitchcock to not ever really delve into the comedy world. So it was cool to see this movie, especially with Cary Grant. And I, about 2 weeks ago, had just rewatched Arsenic and Old Lace again, and I could see a lot of his character in Arsenic and Old Lace in this movie, just on a more adult side and not so slapsticky.
Right.
So I liked that about it. So I'm definitely glad I watched it, and thanks for bringing it to my attention. I have truthfully no idea if I would have watched it otherwise.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, and really happy that you enjoyed it as much as you did. And yes, like you said, it's one of those few times when you're going through a movie going, what the hell, when you should be saying that, right? Instead of saying it in anger going, oh God, what is this? Right? No,
right.
You're genuinely confused because the director wants you to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Really well done. And yes, Jessie Royce Landis played his mother, Clara Thornhill. She was born in 1896. She lived till 1972, and she played Grace Kelly's mother in To Catch a Thief and Cary Grant's prospective mother-in-law.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so she's good at playing moms. And Alfred Hitchcock hated all of the costumes that the studio gave Eva Marie Saint, and so he took her himself to Bergdorf's and personally picked out all of her clothes for the movie.
Oh, wow.
He did a great job. I mean,
yeah, he did.
Obviously, with the creepy behavior that we know of now from him, it's not exactly awesome that he did that, because there might have been other things behind it as well, but he certainly had a vision for what he wanted in his movie, which is classic for a director, right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if there's any word about Hitchcock's wife being involved in that, because Hitchcock's wife was involved in my movie pretty heavily, so I'm curious if you were able to find any information about that.
So Eva Marie Saint tells this story in the DVD commentary for this movie, saying that Hitchcock himself took her to Bergdorf's. So I think it was just him. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And Cary Grant's suit, now Hitchcock didn't dress him, but Cary Grant's suit is known for being a classic suit in movie making. GQ has had many articles about it as well. And also, it was copied for Collateral because Tom Cruise's character wore that suit.
Awesome.
Ernest Lehman wrote the screenplay. He also wrote Sabrina, The King and I, West Side Story, The Sound of Music, and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Wow. Very cool.
Yes. I feel like we've talked about him before, but I can't remember when.
I feel like we have too, because I think you read those exact credits.
I know, but...
Well, which would make sense if those are what he wrote, but
right,
either way.
But then what film did we talk about before? None of those.
3.5 years of Movies Miss podcast. That's over 30,000 movies. I don't know.
Feels like it. And we'll talk a little bit more about Hitchcock's filmography after we talk about your film. But I will say, while filming Vertigo, Hitchcock described some of the plots to James Stewart. Jimmy Stewart just assumed that Hitchcock was going to cast him in the role of Roger Thornhill and got really excited about it. But Hitchcock had always wanted Cary Grant to play the role. When Hitchcock realized that Jimmy Stewart was that excited, he actually delayed filming.
Oh.
He delayed all of the production for North by Northwest until Jimmy Stewart had committed to filming Anatomy of a Murder.
Whoa.
And so then when he, quote unquote, offered Jimmy Stewart the role, Jimmy had to say, no, I'm filming something else. So Hitchcock said he had no choice but to cast someone else and cast Cary Grant, who he had always wanted in the role.
That's pretty
pretty
sneaky.
deft. Yeah, I mean, way to go at not pissing anybody off and not hurting anybody's feelings while getting what you want.
Definitely.
But Cary Grant got on set and found the screenplay entirely baffling. And midway through filming said, this is a terrible script. We've done already a third of the picture and I still can't make heads or tails of it. And Hitchcock
that's great.
Thought it was a compliment and actually was very happy with that statement because that confusion only helped the movie. He wanted Cary Grant confused because that's what his character was supposed to be, because that's what the audience is supposed to feel. So he was very happy with that outburst and kept filming. And Cary Grant honestly thought the movie would be a complete flop right up until its premiere.
And I assume it wasn't.
It absolutely wasn't, and it was nominated for 3 Oscars.
Oh, cool.
Yes, Best Screenplay, Art Direction, and Set Decoration, which makes sense. And by the way, the category was Best Art Decoration, Set Decoration, Color, because it was the 1960 Academy Awards, and so there was a different category for color and black and white, which is so cool.
That is cool.
It was also nominated for Best Film Editing.
Oh, great.
Unfortunately, it didn't win any of those, but it is an Oscar-nominated film, which is cool.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons the set decoration was nominated is that because rather than spending a bunch of money taking the entire cast and crew to South Dakota, Alfred Hitchcock planted 100... Well, he got somebody else, I'm sure. He had his crew plant 100 ponderosa pines on an MGM soundstage. It looked real to me. No, it didn't, but it was pretty awesome.
To say that Mount Rushmore is small?
It is very small. It is the second most underwhelming U.S. landmark I've ever been to.
Oh, cool. I've never
so
in my
lame.
life ever planned to go to Mount Rushmore.
It was lame.
Never.
The number one most disappointing U.S. landmark is Plymouth Rock.
All right.
Don't go
Got
to
the
either
big
of those
ball
places.
of yarn.
That it would be more interesting than the little stone I saw. It was so dumb.
Plymouth Rock.
Oh, God,
yes.
it was dumb. Anyway, but Alfred Hitchcock also couldn't get permission to film inside the UN. So Cary Grant walking up the exterior of the UN building
Oh, yeah.
was filmed with a hidden camera and a skeleton crew. So a guy doing a double take looking at Cary Grant, it was because he was this normal guy going, holy shit, it's Cary Grant.
Oh, my gosh. That's wild.
Yes, and all the inside rooms of the UN were created on a soundstage.
Cool.
A piece of trivia we always like to hear. MGM wanted to cut this movie by 15 minutes, so its length would run under 2 hours, but Hitchcock checked his contract and learned that he had absolute control over the final cut and refused.
Perfect.
15 minutes out of this movie is a lot.
Yeah, it is. I wonder
don't think
what
that
they
would've
were
worked.
trying to get him to cut.
Oh, God. All of this movie is important to the storyline.
Yeah.
I can't picture
Right.
cutting 15 minutes out of it, honestly. Like, maybe a little bit of the crop dusting scene, maybe a little bit of the police interrogation and him showing everyone. There'd have to be
Maybe.
tiny bits and pieces out of different parts of this film in order to culminate in 15 minutes, I think. But it would have been tough, and I don't think it's necessary.
No, I don't think so either. And I know we've talked about that before. Like, do movies need to be a certain length? And it's like, well, when you think about certain movies that are certain lengths, a lot of times everything does make sense, and
Yeah.
it is needed.
Yeah. And Jimmy Stewart's movie, Anatomy of a Murder, that came out in 1959 as well, is tied with North by Northwest as the 6th highest grossing film of the year.
Number 6. All right.
North by Northwest is ranked 106 on IMDb's top 250 films. AFI listed it as number 55 for the greatest films of all time. There are several Alfred Hitchcock movies in AFI's top 100 films of all time, by the way.
Oh, yes.
And because of the climax of this film, DVDs of North by Northwest are sold in the gift shop at Mount Rushmore.
Ha ha! That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So that is North by Northwest. Unfortunately, you have to rent it, but I believe it's worth every penny of the $3 and something you'd have to rent it, to a point where John thinks it's worth over $7, which is awesome.
Yeah. I'm not going to spend $3.99 to rent when I can just spend another $2 and own it.
Mm-hmm.
At least until the contract runs out at Apple Streaming.
Right, exactly. So that is my Alfred Hitchcock movie pick of the week. I'm so glad, John, that you enjoyed it, that I could introduce you to it. Had a lot of fun revisiting this film. Highly recommend it. It is certainly a classic.
Agreed indeed.
So now it's time to fast forward a couple of years to another Hitchcock film, a movie title that I spoiled earlier on in the episode. Sorry, but also not sorry because we list it literally in the episode details. John, do you want to get into your pick this week?
Yes, I think it's time to dive into my flick this week, my Hitchcockian movie. This is my favorite Hitchcock film, has been since I was a kid. I've been watching this movie for just over 30 years now, and it's not a movie that I watch every Halloween or anything like that, but I do watch it once a year. I actually was very fortunate enough to get to see it back on the big screen. I think it was about 2 years ago. I went to the Cinemark. Actually, it was a whole family event. It was, well, my sister didn't go, but my parents and Amy came with me, so that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
This movie stars Rod Taylor. Rod Taylor is an actor that a lot of people like, and he was the voice.
Hot. He's
It
so
was-
hot.
it
in
was
this
all
movie.
right.
Oh my God, Mitch is
guess.
so hot in this film.
Okay, I disagree, but that's just me. Rod Taylor's he's a fine enough looking guy, but I just whatever. He was the voice of a dog in one of your picks several months ago. He's the voice of Pongo in 101 Dalmatians.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh God, he's adorable in that film too.
Yeah.
All I could think of when you said voice of a dog, the only movie that came to my head was All Dogs Go to Heaven, and I know we haven't done that yet.
Oh yeah, no, we haven't.
why I
That would be somebody completely different.
Yes, and that's when that's why I was looking at you with such a blank stare.
Yeah, I was like, you okay over there? This movie also stars Jessica Tandy, Suzanne Pleshette, and this film is the feature film debut of Tippi Hedren. Tippi Hedren was a model for a while that got noticed by Alfred Hitchcock and his wife, which was why I was curious about Hitchcock's wife being involved in the dressing of Eva Marie Saint for your pick. But that's not the case. They went through several channels to get her to meet with Alfred Hitchcock. She actually was brought in under the guise of just being considered for a brand new movie. Nobody told her who the director was, and she ended up going to Universal, and the producer at the time that was running Universal mentioned to her that Alfred Hitchcock was going to be the director of this movie and really would like to meet with her. So she ended up meeting with Alfred Hitchcock and his wife, and she ultimately got cast as Melanie Daniels. This film was released in 1963 based on a short story by Daphne du Maurier, who was a friend of Alfred Hitchcock's. So Alfred Hitchcock really wanted to get this movie made, so he hit up a friend of his named Evan Hunter to write the screenplay, and they came up with the screenplay for this film that we have now that is titled The Birds. This film is super fascinating. It's 2 hours long. There is no soundtrack score to this movie.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Okay.
It's one of those movies that it's like a phantom soundtrack. Like when you're watching it, you for some reason pick up on music, but there's no music at all. And I think it's a really interesting tactic and way to tell the story. Just subliminally, you create your own soundtrack for certain scenes in this movie.
Well, I also think that it adds to the suspense because all you're listening for are birds.
Yeah.
I actually think that was a really smart decision.
I fully agree with that. And like you said, all you're listening for is the birds. At the premiere in London at a movie theater, as the audience was walking out, all they were met with were the sound effects of the birds from this movie played on very loud speakers. That would have been kind of fun, actually, if I were there and just heard like, and like the flapping and everything coming down at you
It just
while you're eating your popcorn.
reminds me of Schitt's Creek when Moira Rose is cast in The Crowaning.
Oh,
the Crow
holy fuck, yes. Absolutely.
Oh, so good.
Schitt's Creek is a phenomenal show.
It really is.
All the way through.
Yes.
Unlike so many other shows.
Oh my god, that's
So
all I
great.
can picture of her in that bird's nest with all the feathers.
Yes. Oh. Wow.
Okay. Sorry, I had to.
No, it's great. I'm glad you brought that up because
Okay,
that was a great episode. So let's get into a little bit of the breakdown of the birds. Other than the birds going nuts on people, we are introduced to Melanie Daniels right away, and this is where we get the Alfred Hitchcock cameo as well. I'm sure you noticed.
Yeah, where the hell was he in the beginning of this film?
Oh, right when she walks into the pet store, he walks by with two dogs on a leash.
Yes, okay. I thought that was it, but it's definitely not
Yes.
as obvious as my movie.
Oh, absolutely not. No way. The one for North by Northwest, right when it happened, I was like, ah, there he is. Because you're always looking for it because it's so quick in every movie of his.
He's the original Stan Lee.
Absolutely, yeah. And M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, no, because M. Night Shyamalan is
M. Night
too
actually has lines
egotistical.
and stuff, yeah.
He has to give himself lines and a character.
Right.
Ugh, God. No.
So we meet Melanie Daniels. She's going into a pet store. She's put in an order for some birds, and the woman at the pet store is telling her that the birds are not going to be coming in, but Melanie's very adamant about the fact that these birds are going to be able to talk, and she's so excited about it. At
She
this
sucks.
point,
Sorry.
who, Melanie does?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just had to
Yeah,
say
you
it.
did interrupt me. Jeez.
She's so mean to that woman, though. The whole time, I'm like, God, you're a bitch.
I didn't really take it that way. I just looked at it more as she was asking questions, and the older woman didn't have any.
You can tell she's spoiled.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and
And used
we
to
haven't
getting
even
her
gotten to
way.
that point yet.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you for spoiling not only my movie, but the characterization of Melanie Daniels.
Sorry.
V, why don't you take away the rest of my description for the birds? Go for it. It's your show. I'm just here.
I'm so sorry. I'll shut up.
It's okay. It's all good. So after Melanie has this conversation with this shop owner, the shop owner goes into the back because she wants to make a phone call. And this is when we are introduced to Mitch Brenner, played by Rod Taylor. So Mitch shows up at this pet store because Mitch is trying to get some birds for his sister, who's 11 years old. And Mitch is like 55 and somehow has this 11-year-old sister, which is super interesting. No, not really.
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's definitely older than his 11-year-old sister. But Mitch is looking for two lovebirds, and Melanie is left alone in this bird shop while this woman goes into the back to get some more information from Melanie. Mitch tells Melanie that he's looking for lovebirds. Melanie is clearly a little bit smitten with Mitch right off the bat. He's a handsome-looking guy, and she starts to play off the fact that she works at this bird shop, although she does not. We come to find out that Melanie's a bit of a socialite and certainly can almost get away with anything, and she's been in the papers a lot because of some pranks that she likes to pull with friends of hers. So after a little bit of letting on, Mitch finally drops on Melanie that he knows who she is, and Melanie at this point is a little thrown off, but at the same time, she kind of likes a little bit of his secrecy and how he just kind of was a little debonair about everything, like, I'm here for my sister. Obviously, he was trying to find these birds for his sister, but the bird shop does not have lovebirds, so Mitch leaves unsatisfied, and Melanie follows him out to get his license plate of his car, asks the woman of the bird shop if she's got any lovebirds, and she says that she can get them in delivered the next morning. So Melanie she ends up calling up her father's paper publication and getting on the phone with a guy that she knows can hunt down whoever the owner of this license plate is, because all she ever got was his name, Mitch Brenner. So the next day, Melanie has got these 2 lovebirds, and she's driving up to drop these birds off at his apartment. And I love this moment in the movie because there's a shot of these 2 lovebirds in the cage, and they're leaning every way that she is turning in the car, and she's driving kind of like a bat out of hell.
It is one of my favorite scenes the whole entire movie. I loved it
it's so
much. And I can tell you, as someone who is known to drive at a bit of a quick pace. I remember having my dog hooked up in the back seat, and she used to lean that way too whenever I would drive. I would always go a little bit slower for her, obviously, but yes, that cracked me up a lot. I had a
it's so
good
great.
time
It's
with
such
that
a
scene.
Perfect little insertion of showing that these birds they're pretty smart,
hanging on
and
for
that,
dear life.
and that Melanie is driving like crazy.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of good Foley and sound effects work with squealing tires throughout the scene.
Definitely. Yeah, and her weaving in and out of lane, like almost lane splitting and stuff going up this area. So she gets to Mitch's apartment, and she's leaving these birds at his door, thinking that this is just going to be a sweet little surprise for Mitch and his sister. And Mitch's neighbor is like, hey, so Mitch is not here. He's out of town. He's up in Bodega Bay, and that's where he stays most weekends. You can't really leave these birds here. I'm going out of town. Otherwise, I'd take care of them for you. Bodega Bay is about 60 miles up the coast, and he's like hour and a half on the freeway, but 2 hours if you take the coastway. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, cool. Thanks for the exposition of how long it could take to get up there, which I did appreciate because...
Well, it's true, and the way you talk when you live in San Francisco, because growing up in the Bay Area, living in San Francisco for 10 years, that is exactly how we have those conversations when we go to Bolinas, Bodega Bay, Point Reyes, Tamales, that area. You say, if you're going to take the Marin Road out, it's a more beautiful drive, but it's going to take you about 2 hours. But if you take the highway all the way to either Petaluma or Santa Rosa and take a left, it's going to be a little less time. So that's actually the way you describe it, which is so fascinating that Alfred Hitchcock knew to do that. Somebody somewhere was actually from the Bay Area when they were writing the script.
Right, absolutely. So Melanie decides that she is going to take a little road trip and go drop these birds off at Mitch Brenner's house. She ends up in Bodega Bay, goes into a little bodega, and asks the guy that's running the place if she might be able to figure out a way to get to his house, find out where he lives. He says, oh yeah, he lives across the way. You can either drive there or you can take a boat. So she asks him to charter a boat for her. She gets on the boat, goes across the channel into his house, and leaves these birds on the coffee table. And this scene always irritated me, even as a kid. I was like, why the hell is she going in somebody's house that she barely knows?
She's so, you could tell. She's
got that presumptuous, like, oh, I can get away with whatever I want.
Very entitled. I'm always able to do whatever I want. And God, could this be any more elaborate? She has to rent a boat to go across the bay because I don't want him to see me driving up. I'm like, dude, it's okay. The surprise can be ruined at that point. You drove all the way the hell up here.
Yeah. So she has a very
like her
nice
sense of fun, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So she's got a little note that she was going to leave for Mitch, but since they're really for his 11-year-old sister and he's 55, it makes no sense. And she gets back on the boat, trying to be really coy about it and just book it so that Mitch doesn't see her. Mitch, of course, sees her and decides that he's going to drive around back to Bodega Bay and meet her on the other side. And this is when the first seagull attacks Melanie while she's in the middle of the channel, smacks her right across the fucking forehead, cracking her head open. This is when Mitch and Melanie start to spend a little bit of time together because he is not only trying to heal her head, but his mother shows up at the diner that they're in. And he's already telling his mom, oh, well, I've invited Melanie to dinner, and it's going to be really awesome. She doesn't have anywhere to stay. On top of this, I forgot to mention that Melanie earlier goes to Annie's house, who is the school teacher of the town, and she only goes over to meet Annie because the guy that works at the bodega that she stopped at, he says that you'll be able to get the name of his sister that you want to leave this note for. So I left a little bit of that exposition out. But Annie is...
she's cool.
Annie's really cool. Annie was played by Suzanne Plachette, and we find out that Annie and Mitch used to date as well. So what happens? Melanie's a little bit tongue-tied and a little bit... she can't really go anywhere. She's planning on staying the night, so she ends up going to dinner at Mitch's house with his mother, played by Jessica Tandy, and his sister. And they have a really nice meal together. And Jessica Tandy plays Lydia Brenner, and she is the one that's, like we mentioned just a few minutes ago with North by Northwest, she's a little bit of an overbearing mom.
She's way creepier than Roger Thornhill's mother in North by Northwest, though.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so
100%.
many scenes that the camera just lingers on her with this scowl on her face that creep me out, and I feel like this would be a prequel to Psycho.
Yeah, it could have been. But she's very much of the mind that like this, like
nobody's
good
enough for my boy.
Yeah, she's not good enough for you, Mitch. She's a weird kid. She jumped in the fountain in Rome and she was naked, and like everybody knows and has seen her naked. So why would you want such a scandalous woman in your life? And it's
Mitch is
pretty
like, actually,
hilarious.
she sounds great.
Yeah, Mitch is all about it because, of course, Tippi Hedren is quite lovely.
Yes. And who plays his sister?
Veronica Cartwright plays his sister, his 11-year-old sister in this movie.
This is, I believe, her film debut.
Oh, cool. I think you're right. Yes. She was in another movie that we've done here on the podcast.
My first Halloween month pick, I think.
Yeah.
She is the other woman on the ship in Alien.
Yes, she plays Lambert.
She is really good at freaking out, even as a kid, actually. Now that I think about it,
yeah.
She was losing her goddamn mind in this film. And
yes, she was.
do you know, just looking up her credits after watching this movie, because the way her teeth and mouth moved when she was really upset, I was like, there's no way that's Veronica Cartwright. I didn't think she'd be young enough at the time. Turns out, yeah. I had to look just because I was so curious, and it turns out she was. And she has an uncredited role in Speed.
Oh, really?
Remember when Sandra Bullock is getting distracted and she's talking to Keanu Reeves, and then there's a homeless woman who's pushing a baby cart out into the street, and she hits the baby cart, and Sandra Bullock freaks out because she thinks it's a baby and it's just full of cans. But that homeless woman is played by Veronica Cartwright.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I wonder if she was just walking by set one day and was like, I'll be in this movie.
Maybe.
Like Dustin Hoffman in The Holiday.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, I hadn't noticed it until watching The Birds this week that was Veronica Cartwright, so I want to talk about it.
Yeah, no problem. So at dinner with Mitch and his mom, Melanie gets invited by Kathy to attend her birthday party the next day. Melanie, being the sweetheart that she is, says that, yeah, of course, I'll come and hang out at your birthday party. Why not? And this is when the big attack goes down. I've always liked the scene at the birthday party, and after the birthday party, we start to get more information around Bodega Bay that the seagulls and the ravens have just kind of snapped and have been attacking other townsfolk. And the town is now trying to figure out a way to not only hide, but come to some sort of conclusion that they can figure out to get these birds to stop attacking people in Bodega Bay or to just migrate elsewhere. And for the rest of the movie, we're along for this ride while we watch the tension build up throughout the townsfolk, and there's a wonderful written scene. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long with Mrs. Bundy in the diner, how she's talking about the different species of birds. And even as a kid, I always loved that scene because Ethel Griffiths was so good in that scene, and everybody involved. It was right before one of the best shots in all of Hitchcock filmography, in my opinion, is the high shot after the car explodes, and then the gulls just start coming in, and there's no music again. It's just so suspense-filled with the fact that we are about to watch some craziness go down. And for 1963, there are some shocking close-ups in this movie. And I will never forget when Jessica Tandy goes to her friend's house and finds what she finds. When we saw this movie in theaters, Amy actually had to look away, and I was like, ooh, got Amy a little freaked out. So like I said, for the rest of the movie, we're watching the townsfolk figure out a way to just get these birds out of Bodega Bay and the rest of the townsfolk to safety from these crazy flying animals that so many people are convinced are fake, but I am not convinced that birds are fake. I think birds are real.
That's the weirdest conspiracy theory.
It is. It really is. I actually just saw a video the other day, totally AI video, of a guy like, see, pigeons are fake. And the pigeon had its side cut open, and it was all electronic wiring.
God.
It was like, yeah, they're spying on us. But anyway, this has been my favorite Hitchcock movie since I saw it, and I have seen so many of his movies, and this one I always go back to the most, next to Psycho and next to Spellbound. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about his filmography after V. We get into your experience rewatching The Birds. I don't know how often you've seen it, how many times, when your last rewatch of this was, but I'm curious. You kind of did spoil the fact that you did enjoy this movie, so I think you enjoyed it again.
I did. I absolutely enjoyed it again. I've only seen it 4 times, maybe. Last time was a handful of years ago, before COVID. It's been a bit. And I've always thought this movie was so cool, especially because, and one of the reasons why I wanted to watch it when I was growing up was because it was filmed right near where I grew up. And I know Bodega Bay really well, and those drives out there too. And they talked about Santa Rosa a lot, which was really fun.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, of course, anytime a movie takes place close to where you're growing up, you think that's so cool and such a neat connection, right? And then I watched the film and I thought it was really neat and a great horror film. This could be good for a Halloween pick, but I'm really glad you picked it for just a Hitchcock episode instead. I think that's totally valid, and it is a very tension-filled film, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think Tippi Hedren does a great job, and so does everybody else. I think the performances are done really well. I do think there's a pacing issue. There was a point about 2/3 of the way through the film, I was like, okay, let's get this thing on, let's get this show on the road. Let's keep moving forward. And so I think there's an opportunity here that they could have edited a bit more out of this film, just because there's a lot of waiting around, which I get. And he's trying to show that people are trapped. I mean, this town is basically under hostage from these birds, and they don't know why. When I was in my 20s, I hated the way this movie ended, but now I like it. Because I really like that we only know as much as the characters do. And I thought that was a really cool choice that he made, that other directors wouldn't have taken that chance and would have wanted, especially now. Like in the 60s, you could get away with endings like that. Yep.
I feel like a movie like this, you still can get away with an ending like that. It's like the Nolan effect, basically. It kind of ends, like with Inception and Tenet, especially.
No, there are good conclusions to both of those films.
Well, technically there aren't, though, if you really think about it. But I do understand what you're saying with the ending for this movie, and Hitchcock decided to forego the end portion of it because he wanted the audience to be a bit flabbergasted and irate at the end of the movie and being like, wait, what the fuck? And that's exactly, I remember thinking that the first time I saw it. I was like, wait, what? And
exactly.
And even now, like when it comes up, it's one of those endings that I really feel is a fantastic way to end the movie. It's an ending that I always remember about 5 minutes before the movie ends.
Yes. Exactly.
And I don't remember how it ends up until they're all starting to slowly get out of the house. And then I'm just kind of like, oh, fuck, that's right. And going back to that birthday party, the scene where Melanie is outside having that cigarette and there's like 2 ravens on the jungle gym, and then the camera pans back to Melanie and then they pan back again and there's more.
Yes.
And it's so silently done, and that just shows you the mindset of the birds. The name of this movie is The Birds. Just the silence of it all, I think, is one of the best parts about the movie.
I totally agree with you. And my favorite scenes of the film were actually when she goes to the schoolhouse and the kids are still in it. And she looks outside and all of the playground equipment are just covered in birds. And the terror that she and Annie must have been feeling because they're in charge of all these children. And what the hell are they going to do? I love that scene so much. How foreboding all of those birds on the jungle gym are is so well done.
And that kid that's getting just like pecked in the back of the head.
That's so messed up.
It's so twisted. And I've never been afraid of birds, and this movie certainly made me freaked out about birds, but I never was like, I never lost any sleep over them. I remember the second or third time after watching this movie, I had one of those old JCPenney VHS cam recorders, and I would go around my neighborhood and I would tape birds. And if ever I can find the videos tapes, I will show you, because I'm sitting there behind the camera going, the birds, the birds, the birds. And I'm just, I got a little birdie at the time, and I still want a bird. I really would like to own a bird, and Amy said that maybe one of these days I can get one. So if I can get a bird over a tarantula or a snake, I'll be very happy, because I would love all three. But Amy doesn't want something scary in the house.
I just visited my friend Tim, who has a blue macaw.
Ooh,
gorgeous bird. Yes, he's a really cool bird too. And I agree with you. Birds never freaked me out. I'm wondering though, for people who grew up in the Midwest or in areas where a lot of people have never been to the ocean before. I'm wondering if this movie would have been scarier because they haven't encountered seagulls before.
Ooh, yeah. And watching it just this time around, it reminded me of The Lighthouse. Bad luck to kill a seabird.
Yeah. Well, rewatching it this time around, it reminded me of The Happening with the trope of nature and animals getting revenge on humanity.
Yeah.
Although, The Happening sucks, and this one doesn't.
Yes.
Speaking of M. Night Shyamalan.
Far better than The Happening.
Oh,
absolutely.
God. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, yeah. Pretty shitty.
However, the How Did This Get Made episode about it is pretty spectacular.
It's incredible. Yeah. Absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
So good.
Sorry, go ahead. Back to the birds.
Yes, let's talk about the birds. V, how many of the birds do you think were real in this movie?
20%.
Okay, well, I didn't think you were gonna go percentage, but sure, yeah, 20%.
Well, tell me the numbers. I'll do the math. That's fine.
Okay, there were 3,200 trained birds in this movie.
Holy shit!
Ravens and seagulls. Ravens were said to be the cleverer of the birds. And the seagulls were said to be the more vicious of the birds, which I can absolutely see. Yeah. I've seen seagulls do some shit on the beach. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I've always had this theory that seagulls are spirits stuck in purgatory, because not only are you at the beach and the weather's usually beautiful, but you got to fend for your own fucking life and you got to get food when you can. So I've always felt like... And everybody fucking hates you. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I've gotten close to seagulls, but I've never actually touched one, and I don't think I ever want to.
No, I think that's I actually think that's a fair theory. So, okay, so it's I would probably say half then, because I would bet that there would be 7,000 birds that they would want to be pictured on set. So I would say half real, half fake, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Very likely. But there definitely are a lot of fake birds as well. The bird that actually attacks Melanie is fake.
Well, I never, ever expected it to be that many. I thought you were going to say there were like 100 or 200 real birds.
No, my jaw actually kind of hit the floor. Like 3,200 real fucking birds. There was actually one raven on the show called Archie that Rod had a major problem with, and that bird was always trying to bite Rod Taylor every time they showed up on stage. And Rod Taylor in the documentary on the DVD said that every morning I would go to set and say, is Archie working today? And they would sometimes say no just to fuck with me, and that bird would come swooping down and try and bite me in the face.
I understand the urge.
Yeah, okay. One cool thing about the 3,200 birds that were on set for this movie, V, you'll appreciate this, the ASPCA was involved very heavily to make sure that they were treated properly.
Oh, good. So it was just Tippi Hedren that was abused.
Yeah, Tippi Hedren was the abused one.
Yeah, okay.
But the cool thing about her first attack was, and she breaks it down in the documentary. There's a really awesome hour-and-a-half documentary on the DVD. It's actually led by Alfred Hitchcock's daughter, and she goes into a lot of detail about the production of the movie. And they did shoot in Bodega Bay. They shot in San Francisco. They also shot at Universal Studios in several sound stages. The scene later on in the movie where the kids are running away from the school was done on kind of green screen / blue screen / sodium, which we've talked about the sodium shoot before with movies like Mary Poppins and Pete's Dragon. A lot of that was just overlaid, so a lot of the birds actually are not even on set for that. They were just shot in different portions, especially the little canary attack inside the Brenner's house that all come through the fireplace.
Yeah, that was
all
awesome.
Overlaid. That was really
that was
awesome.
A great scene.
Scary, too. There's 370 effects shots in this movie.
Understandable.
Yes. And speaking of the blue screen, green screen, and the sodium shooting, when these kids are running away from the school and when Tippi Hedren is running away at certain points, they shot all that on stage with a screen behind them, and they were running on treadmills to make them look like they were running faster.
Cool.
Yeah, it actually worked out pretty well. So it's 60-some-odd years ago now that this movie was released. It holds up pretty well in certain regards.
Yeah. I mean, it is obvious that there are major effect shots in this film, but overall, it doesn't seem campy or stupid.
No, not at all.
In terms of the suspense and the threatening birds, that definitely holds up.
Yeah, I love to hear it. I'm glad that you are a fan of the movie. I honestly wasn't sure when I was watching it this last time around. I was like, oh boy, I think this is going to be a movie V might actually kind of take down because you haven't done that in a while.
It's true, I am due. That's fair. But at the same time, no, I can respect it for what it is. Like I said, I think there's a little bit of a pacing issue about 2/3 of the way through the film. But otherwise, again, everybody acted really well, even the kids. It's scary. I can imagine being mobbed by a flock of seagulls, and that would suck. It'd be terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I feel like it absolutely would.
Very overwhelming, and you'd feel like you can't see ahead of you, so therefore you can't escape. And I'm sure that would hurt a lot.
Oh, I'll bet. $200,000 of the budget was actually spent on creating a lot of the fake birds for the movie.
And rightly so. I think that was really important because if they were really obviously fake, that would look so lame.
Oh, absolutely.
They would get into B-movie status, right?
Definitely, and that is not Hitchcock's MO by any means.
Yeah.
Hitchcock did approach Joseph Stefano to write the screenplay. Joseph Stefano was the screenwriter on Psycho, and Joseph said to Hitchcock that the story did not interest him, so he decided not to write the screenplay, and we got Evan Hunters instead.
Okay.
And I wanted to mention the effects, the way that they shot the first attack on Tippi Hedren. She was talking about it on the documentary that after they did her hair, they sat her down on the boat, and the effects crew stuck a huge hose up her back into her hair, and they had an air pump. So right when the fake bird attacks her in the forehead, they squirted a little bit of that fake blood on her, so that fake blood that's trickling down her face was from just having shot that. And so the continuity actually works for the later scenes when they're in the diner because they picked up pretty much right after that. And the loose hair that she had, she said the rest of her hair felt like a wig because of all of the hairspray that her hair designer put in to make sure that no strand came undone except for the one that was supposed to. And the scene looks great. Every time I watch it, it's just like, oh wow, how did they get that one piece of hair to fall? And now we know.
Yeah, it's a great scene, and certainly the effects help a lot.
It really does. Tippi Hedren was actually cut by a real bird in the face during the production of this movie.
Yeah, when Alfred Hitchcock threw it at her.
Yeah, well, there it is.
Sorry.
Pretty shitty.
Did I spoil that?
It's fine.
Oh, he sucks. He's such a dick to his actresses.
Yeah, he and Kubrick have that reputation, unfortunately.
And who is Tippi Hedren, by the way? Who is her daughter?
Tippi Hedren is the mother of Melanie Griffin, who is the ex-wife of Antonio Banderas. And I have worked with Melanie Griffith, and she's wonderful.
She's also the ex-wife of Don Johnson and mother of Dakota Johnson.
Well, cool.
Madam Web.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Dakota Johnson. Okay, yeah. 50 Shades of Grey. All right.
The woman who brought down Ellen.
Oh, yeah. Well, now this part I found fascinating, and at the same time makes sense they didn't go this route because Hitchcock had his affinity for blondes, but Audrey Hepburn was in consideration to play Melanie.
So I could see her as a socialite, but sophisticated, whereas Melanie has this sorority girl, bratty, immature vibe that Audrey Hepburn was way too elegant for that.
I agree. This was the last Hitchcock film to be nominated for an Oscar, and it ended up losing to Cleopatra that year.
I think this was the last genuinely great Hitchcock film, too.
I fully agree. And the Oscar nomination was for Best Visual Effects. But you're right. You're absolutely right. I love Vertigo. I love Spellbound. I love Dial M for Murder. This is my favorite. Psycho's fantastic. And there's another movie called Downhill that was one of his very first feature films. I actually got to see it at the Aero Theater, and it was silent film, and it was a very good flick. I remember being very impressed with seeing that. And then a couple years later, I ended up going to the Aero again to see Psycho and Spellbound on the big screen. So I've been fortunate to see several Hitchcock films on the big screen.
That is very fortunate and very cool. The other really cool thing is that you and I have very different favorite Hitchcock films.
Yes, we do.
Because mine are Strangers on a Train, Dial M for Murder, Rear Window, which I think my mom is going to pick at some point.
I do like Rear Window also.
To Catch a Thief, and Vertigo.
Yeah, there you go.
Which are
that is
none of the ones on your list at all.
That's so awesome.
That's so cool.
Really badass, actually.
Yeah, I love it, which means we could have more Hitchcock episodes and introduce each other to our favorite Hitchcock films.
We might as well.
We wouldn't have to fight over them, which would be nice.
I know. Production lasted just over 4 months, beginning on March 5th of 1962 and wrapping July 10th of 1962.
Yeah, I mean, they had to be outdoors for a lot of it, so it makes sense that they had to film in the summertime.
Yes, indeed. Akira Kurosawa put The Birds as his favorite Hitchcock film on his list of 100 greatest movies, and this movie is the only Hitchcock film on the Akira Kurosawa 100 favorite films of all time list.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, very much so.
The budget for The Birds was $2.5 million. The worldwide box office, now this is after re-releases and everything because this movie is over 60 years old, $11.4 million.
Wow, okay.
Did very well. The highest grossing film of 1963, I wonder if you can guess it. We've talked about it already on this episode in particular.
Cleopatra.
Yes, Cleopatra was the highest grossing film of 1963.
I cannot wait for you to introduce me to that film.
I can't either. It is a magnitude, massive opus of a movie. And the 17th highest grossing film of 1963 was my pick for this week of The Birds.
Fantastic.
So that is The Birds. If you've never seen it, give it a shot. It's 2 hours. It's fantastic. No score, but that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's a really, really damn good flick. It is not streaming anywhere, similar to Vee's, but you can rent it on Apple or Amazon. I watched my DVD copy, and I've yet to get my 4K copy of this movie, but you better believe that I will have one.
Do you know what's crazy is that another film of ours did not have a score either, and that stars Cary Grant.
Ah! Was it His Girl Friday?
It was actually Bringing a Baby.
Oh, Bringing a Baby. All right, baby. With Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is our Hitchcockian episode. I hope this was informative for everybody out there that is a Hitchcock fan that may not have known anything about these two movies, especially V and myself, who I don't know how much of my BTS you knew of my movie V, but I knew none of yours and hadn't even seen yours. So that was a lot of fun. Great conversation. Definitely looking forward to next week. I think next week is going to be a lot of fun too. V, are you... before we do that though, V, would you watch North by Northwest with your grandma?
Absolutely. I watched it with my sister this week. I would have watched it with my mother or my father. It's a very tame film. It's from 1959. Of course, it's a very tame film.
Yes.
Highly recommend it. It's certainly a classic.
Awesome.
And would you watch The Birds with your grandma?
I think I did 5 times.
Oh, I was thinking that she would have loved how twisted it was.
Yeah, my grandma and my grandfather on my mom's side were big Birds fans.
Nice.
And I think, if I remember correctly, it was either my dad or my grandfather, or they were both there when I watched it the first time. It was on like TNT or something like that, way back in the day.
Probably TCM.
Yeah, it could have been TCM or AMC.
Yeah, AMC with the classic films was good too. Yeah,
definitely. One thing I actually wanted to mention about Strangers on a Train, North by Northwest, was that I liked the fact that the MGM logo was green, and I did like the opening credits that were layered over that skyscraper. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, sideways is fitting in with the window lines was so cool, and I loved the aerial cinematography, especially when he's running out of the UN.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
such a great shot. But yeah, I remember turning to my sister Suzanne and going, "Oh, it's the original lion."
Yeah. OG lion. So now let's get back to it. V, are you ready to drop our next movie? Well, your next pick for next week's episode of episode 191.
Yes, I'm very excited. We are going the princess route next week.
Yeah.
And so I decided to pick the live-action movie from 2001 starring Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews and a whole host of other wonderful character actors who you all recognize.
Yeah.
This is The Princess Diaries.
Nice. Just watched it on our last Disney cruise.
Great. Well, I plan to watch that movie and the sequel before our next episode.
Oh, perfect.
And what princess movie did you pick?
I chose a film from the year 1997, going back with our good buddies Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. This movie has the voice acting talents of Meg Ryan, John Cusack, Christopher Lloyd, Kelsey Grammer, Hank Azaria. This is Anastasia.
Jesus, that's a good cast.
Yeah, and if you have not seen Anastasia, you are in for a treat.
That would be me.
Yeah, I know. So you are in for a treat. And our audience, if you care to follow along, it is currently streaming on Disney now because Anastasia was originally a 20th Century Fox animated film. But once Disney bought 20th Century, Anastasia became a Disney princess.
Oh, that's fantastic. And The Princess Diaries can also be watched on Disney+.
That's true. Look at that. Well, we look forward to next week then to discuss our princess flicks. We'll see you guys next week. Please, again, rate, review, subscribe, follow us on all social media. And before we close out here at Movies You Miss Podcast, film is a form of art, and in art, all opinions are valid, except if you think
Alfred Hitchcock's talent excuses his shitty behavior with all of his actresses.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, okay, good. Thank God.
Same thing with Woody Allen and Kubrick, etc. A lot of unfortunate souls out there. Poor unfortunate souls.
How have we not done that film yet?
I don't know. We certainly should.
Yes.
I imagine we will. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.